That is how they line up. Well, I'm not sure we can read too much into the qualification results, given that they haven't translated to final results. But if we are looking at the qualification results, it's Elizabeth Seitz of Germany who was top qualifier. Clara Raposo, second best in qualification, but sadly no longer in this. Does that open up this final? Well, the French gymnast Célia Serbe leads the rest of the field out. She was sixth in qualifying. She already has a World Challenge Cup medal to her name, and incidentally that came in Varna. That was on this apparatus 2 years ago. Well, now that the athletes have been introduced to the judges and to the crowd, the first four will get warmed up. Will be Serbe, who takes her turn first. She trains at the INSEP Institute in Paris, which is the high performance centre for all French athletes. So of course there's gymnasts, there are runners, archers, you name the sport, they're all there training at INSEP in Paris, just on the outskirts there of the city. It's a really impressive facility. Well, in terms of how the finalists line up here, it was Elizabeth Seitz of Germany who got the highest qualification score. She also has the most difficult routine as well, with a 6.1, the only one to have a routine that is scoring in the sixes in terms of difficulty. We will have a brand new champion on this apparatus, Sofia Kovac of Hungary, who took the gold last year, is not in this final. In terms of what we're looking for in this apparatus, we're looking for a crisp and silky routine, something that flows through the elements with real fluidity. We don't want to see anything that looks laboured, we don't want to see any hesitations or stops, and we certainly don't want to see any falls. Flow and fluidity, that's the name of the game with the uneven bars. We want to see smooth combinations and transitions. And combining those tough elements will accumulate the extra points in terms of the difficulty. Well, Celia Serbe was selected as an alternate in the French team for the 2020 Summer Olympics. Just 20 years old at the moment. She was part of France's silver medal winning team at the Mediterranean Games in 2022. Certainly a useful all-rounder and one that is a good gymnast to have in a team competition. Originally from Dijon, but now, of course, trains in Paris with the rest of the French elite.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing France, Celia Serbe.
Oh, well, that is a shame. Certainly not the start that she would have wanted. Fortunately, though, she is back up on her feet, ready to resume, and is unscathed. Oh, well, it looked good up until that landing when she just fell forward, the momentum carrying her forward onto her knees, but she was doing ever so well after she got back on the apparatus. You could hear the frantic cries from the French contingent of allez, allez, and I don't know whether she was able to block that out or else draw on that, but the French team certainly vocal in their support of their athlete. That is a disappointing start for Serbe. First the fall and then the botched landing. .1, that is a real shame for the French gymnast. 12.950 in qualifying. Those mistakes really cost her dearly. Zala Tritnik of Slovenia is next up. She got a 12.950 as well in qualifying, the exact same score as Serbe did. Difficulty of 4.8, so scored very well on the execution. Well, she sticks the landing, but there was that big mistake in the middle. The transition between the low and high bar not necessarily as slick as they could have been. It's just there where she grazed the mat with her legs and feet. Well, again, down significantly on her qualification score. Lost points in execution. Zelisateva Hubareva of Ukraine next up. Third best in qualifying with a 13.4. Second most difficult routine. This is worth a 5.6. Moving really well through the transitions. Oh, that was a really nice, clean, slick routine. And you suspect that Hubareva will be top of the standings, although she is only the third of 3 to go. The two gymnasts before her with two quite big mistakes, and Hubareva cleanly, safely through that routine with real grace.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing Romania, Andrea Preda.
Well, we'll have to wait a few moments longer for Hubareva's scores because we are on to the next. This is Andrea Preda of Romania. She was 7th in qualification with a 12.9, but remember, Celia Serbe and Zala Tritnik, the two gymnasts who finished ahead of her in qualifying, both penalised in terms of the execution, so there is a chance to move up through the field, of course, as well. Clara Raposo not in this either. Oh, absolutely nailed the landing with the big dismount.
2.5 minutes warm-up, 7 foot and
The difficulty is worth a 5.3, but you suspect that the execution score will be high. Well, we still haven't got confirmation yet of Hubereva's scores, but of course, as soon as that comes through, I will share that with you. Preda, in qualifying, scored a 12.9. I wonder whether she will have bettered that. Well, she's looking at the electronic board, I suspect, and has just been told to wait a little longer before she makes her move. 12.9, the exact same as she scored in qualification. Andrea Preda with 2 consistent performances on the bars. Take another look at Celia Serbe. Disappointing performance from the French athlete. Well, at the halfway stage, they're still awaiting confirmation of Hubereva's result, but it is Preda who leads with a 12.9. We still don't know what Hubereva has, though, so she may not be in the lead, the Romanian. Four more still to go, the midway point of this uneven bars final. Well, we can see the board in the background there. It says that Preda is second, which means that Hubereva has scored higher than a 12.9. We still don't have confirmation of that, but she currently leads, the Ukrainian. Well, Rose Wu was one of 2 Canadians in this, but now she is that country's sole representative. Her teammate became injured earlier.
Representing Canada.
She is a real standout on the national team for Canada. You can see there, she's another athlete with those Olympic rings tattooed onto her back. Seems almost to be a rite of passage, doesn't it? If you represent your country at an Olympic Games, you need to have something to show for it, some kind of memento to carry around with yourself. That was a lovely, clean routine from Rose Wu, achieving excellent height in the air, really slick through the transitions. And certainly she looks to be the standout so far. And we don't know what the score is that she needs to beat, because we are awaiting confirmation of Hubereva's score, but you suspect that that routine will be enough to get Rose Wu to the top of the podium as things stand. She finished 4th in qualifying with a 13.3. Hubereva finished in qualifying with a 13.4, so those two very closely matched. Could be a battle between them for the top spot on the podium. It's still early days though, we have just reached the midway point of this final. But that pair certainly the standout so far. .366. Well, she's up on her qualification score, but we don't yet know whereabouts in the standing she is. It'll be first or second, but that is to be confirmed. This is Croatia's Sara Sulekic. Sulekic, rather. My apologies, Sara Sulekic. First reserve replacing Clara Raposo of Canada. This routine is a 5.3 in terms of the difficulty. She actually scored the same as Barbara Makosova in qualifying, a 12.8, but her execution was slightly lower, which is why she was the reserve. Well, Sulekic told to sit down once again. She's obviously seen her score on the big screen. She's been made to wait a little longer. 13.233, an improvement from qualifying. She will be happy with that one. Elizabeth Seitz, the top qualifier, the German. Tokyo 2020 Olympian. She is likely to be named in her national team for the Paris Games, and this will be an opportunity for her to really impress the selectors. absolutely nails the landing. Huge smile across her face. Elizabeth Seitz delighted, rightly, with that performance. Huge smile as she greets the coach and leaves the field of play. Well, she'll be confident of being on that podium. She will need to score in the 13s to be up there. 14.1 is her qualifying score, big score. And she possesses by far the most difficult routine of any of these finalists, with a 6.1 difficulty rating. I suspect that she'll be scoring highly on the execution as well. Neatly through the transitions. Well, it's a big score, 14.4. It's a big improvement on qualification as well. And Elizabeth Seitz is head and shoulders now above the rest. She is all but guaranteed that gold unless Barbara Markosova can pull off a miracle. Well, it would be a big ask, given that the Slovakian's score in qualifying was a 12.8. Elizabeth Seitz, though, very much the standout performer so far. Nice clean landing for the Slovakian final performer on the bars this afternoon. Here come the medalists for the women's uneven bars. A high-scoring final. Of course, the highest qualifier, Elizabeth Seitz, was then able to replicate that performance when it really mattered in the final, taking gold and improving her qualification score of 14.1 and achieving a 14.4 in the final. Yelizaveta Ubareva of Ukraine with the silver, and Rose Wu of Canada picking up the bronze with a 13.366.
Silver medal representing Ukraine,
Yelizaveta Ubareva with a 13.5 for silver. But there is absolutely no mistaking the champion.
Representing Germany, Elizabeth Seitz.
Elizabeth Seitz of Germany. almost a full point ahead of Hubareva with the silver.
Third place awards.
A 14.4 huge performance on the uneven bars that is bound to catch the eye of the German Olympic selectors.
Second place awards. FIG Technical Delegate Helena Lario. And first place award, President of Local Organizing Committee, Olympic medalist and world champion, Varna WCC. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise up for the national anthem of Germany. Huge applause for the champions and march out.